Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Vulnerability Hangover podcast. I am your host, Nikki, and Enzo is somewhere around here. Unfortunately, he's not on screen, but I'm working on bringing him in and having his own camera, but he's probably just going to be sleeping the entire time. But I know you guys love to see him. So I'm working on doing something like that. Other than that, welcome to season 3 of the Vulnerability Hangover podcast. I can't believe it. We're already on season 3. And I know I get to pick and choose when the seasons start and when the seasons end, but I'm incredibly grateful that I'm continuing to go on this vulnerability journey with you guys and really pursue this head on. Anyways, today we are drinking kind of drinking. I probably shouldn't be having caffeine this late in the day. It's like almost 3. Well, you know, my little Celsius. Kiwi guava, it's like halfway done. I haven't really been drinking a lot of caffeine lately, I'll be honest. I guess I could get into that a little bit. So, I recently just had a surgery and I wasn't drinking caffeine, so that lowered my tolerance significantly. And then I also got COVID. I spent a whole week not drinking caffeine as well. So my tolerance is like really low. I'm addicted to it. I like to drink caffeine and some days I need to pick me up, you know? And I'm also drinking water. Here's my extremely old hydro flask. I'm just going to give it a little sip if you want to take a sip with me and make sure you're staying hydrated out there, guys. If you forgot to drink your water, here's your reminder. So today's affirmation is what you may think is your weakness is actually your source of power. This is something that I've really been thinking about a lot lately. Things that I once thought were weaknesses, such as being sensitive or having a lot of emotions, feeling emotions a lot. It's actually my source of power. I'm able to articulate how I'm feeling and therefore become a more empathetic person because of it, because I'm understanding their emotions. So, yeah, that is the affirmation for today. And I just want you guys to sit and think on that a little bit and really look into what you feel may be your weakness, because that could be your source of power. Of course, not with everything. Not everything is black and white. Welcome to another season of the Vulnerability Hangover. This is my first solo episode of the season, and my plans going forward are to have 2 episodes a week and have one of them be a guest episode and then one of them be a solo episode, whether it be a full on long solo episode like this one or a vulnerability bite. So I'm going to try and get as much content out as possible. But of course, if you follow on the social media pages, that's another way that you can get content from the Vulnerability Hangover. So let's jump into this episode because it's packed full of information, realizations, goals for this new year in 2024, and I'm catching you guys up a little bit. As I mentioned before, previously, in December, I had a major reconstructive surgery, which surprisingly was not as painful as I was expecting. We had to completely reconstruct the muscles on my chest. So, my recovery time is like 2 weeks and then some. I've been really, really taking this time around easy because it was such a major surgery. I also, unfortunately, at the beginning of January, caught COVID. Now, this is my first time ever having COVID. I've been exposed to COVID before, but I've never had it. But I was able to push through. A couple of my family members caught COVID as well. It was not fun whatsoever, but I'm over it now. But through that, what felt well, in total, it was like a little over a month of resting and recovery and healing my body. I spent a lot of my time just thinking about things and really sitting with myself. New Year's Eve, I went out and got myself a journal, and that's something that I like to do every single year. I love getting a brand new journal. This time around, I ended up getting 2. I'll just show you guys what I got. I go to Marshalls and like TJ Maxx because why pay a bunch of money at Target or something like that? I got this intentions and reflections journal. I found this at Marshalls and it was literally like $3. So it's a daily journal with daily prompts to help you start with an intentional mind and end with a grateful heart. I was doing so good before I got sick about journaling morning and night, my gratitudes and my action items throughout the day. So, this is going to be something that I'm trying to do daily. I need to make this a habit because I noticed that when I was doing that for the first couple of weeks of January before I got sick, I was more productive throughout the day and I was in a better mood. So that's one of the things that I got. I also got another journal that looks, they're almost like the same color. And it came with its own little gold pen. I love gold. It just reminds me that I am abundant and it has moons on it, the phases of the moon, because I am a self proclaimed moon mama. I love the moon. Who doesn't love the moon? And in this journal, I've been just writing down a bunch of goals, manifestations, and I just love doing it. It was something that really got me through my breakup. Journaling got me through my breakup. Journaling got me through, honestly, a lot of the shit that happened to me in 2022. Just circling back to being sick and sitting with myself and sitting with my feelings, I felt that it was hard that I had to go through this, I guess, hibernation because I just had surgery. So I had been resting and recovering from that. But I really think that at the end of the day, that was like the universe forcing me to yet again rest and look inwards. And I was able to journal a little bit through that process. Journaling, like I said, helped me so much in the spring of 2022. I was diving into personal development and trying to rediscover who I was, and journaling helped me a lot with that. It's my way of connecting with myself and getting all the things that I think about throughout the day because I think a lot. I think a lot. If you guys watched my astrology episode, Patrick mentioned I'm a mercurial person and we have lots of thoughts, we like to talk, and we have lots of ideas, and my brain is in constant circulation mode. It's 222. Sorry, my ADHD is going crazy today. It's 222 on the computer right now, so that's just affirming what I'm saying. I'm in constant think mode. So I need to get that out on paper and just brain dump. I also have this podcast too, so I can always just let you guys know exactly how I'm feeling, what I'm going through. But sometimes it's just better to go through that internally before putting that out all online because I want to make sure that when I put it out and talk to you guys that it's clear and concise and I'm working through things without dumping it onto you. So, I started diving into journaling and personal development in the spring of 22, and that created the foundation for the relationship that I have with myself. Simple entries, gratitude each morning and at night, and goal setting has helped me rewire my brain to think more positively. And that's something that I learned throughout researching manifestation. Gratitude, you guys, is the ultimate life hack. I'm serious. Every time I am speaking out about how grateful I am for something, the universe is like, oh, she's in receiving mode. She wants to receive more and more. So I'm attracting things that I want a lot more. And so, yeah, gratitude has literally created the path to abundance for me. So, in that time of hibernation mode and journaling with myself and becoming more introspective, I have realized that I want this year to be the year where I find myself outside of the conditioning that I was raised in, outside of the conditioning of going through an abusive relationship, outside of the conditioning of what I did for work, friendships, everything. I'm shedding every bit of myself that no longer serves me. What no longer serves me is some of that conditioning that's keeping me in this, I don't want to say a low vibrational state because I don't necessarily agree with that kind of stuff, but keeping me in this locked up mode to where I'm not progressing and moving forward. I feel like I made a lot of strides moving forward in 2022, but I still was working through blockages, which is why I decided in 2023 to get sober. And let me tell you guys, I know it's hard giving up alcohol because it's so normalized. But the reality of it is, alcohol is a drug. It puts you in an altered state to where you're incapacitated and you're not functioning in the way that you should be. And let's not forget to mention waking up the next day with a hangover. The worst feeling ever. You're not productive. You feel bad about yourself. You regret the decisions that you made the night before. So that's the reason why I gave up alcohol. And I'm not trying to convince you guys, but if you're sober curious like I was in 2022, I suggest taking at least a month off because committing to the rest of your life to being sober is extremely, extremely hard. And I've noticed a lot lately that a lot of people are realizing that alcohol is no longer serving them. So we're creating a environment where it's normal to be sober. Isn't that weird to say? It's normal to not be drinking alcohol. Another life hack. Go sober. Trust me. Try it for a month. Dry January, there you go. Dry February, try that out. It's worth it. Especially after the holidays, alcohol does not serve you. Along with finding myself outside of the conditioning, that has made me realize I am shifting into another phase of my life. It's January 19th right now, which means I'm 1 month away from turning 26. Now, I thought 25 was going to be a monumental year for me because it's a quarter of a century. I thought 25 would be this big monumental year, and it was. It was a very difficult year for me, but at the same time, 26 is oh shit, I'm really an adult right now. I won't be on my parents' health insurance after the end of the month, after the end of February, because I turn 26 on the 19th of February. And that is very scary for me. And I know that might be like, oh, well, that's normal. You're an adult. You should be paying for your own insurance. But it scares me not having good insurance. Like, I have been very fortunate to have awesome insurance through my parents, like awesome health insurance. When I almost died of sepsis in 2022, my bills were overall relatively covered. Health insurance should not be a privilege, it should be a right. And I'm not going to argue with anyone about that. So that's something that I'm scared of, I'll be honest. It's just adding another layer of monthly costs to my plate, and that's overwhelming for me, especially being an entrepreneur, especially in this economy. I'm just openly talking to you about the fears that I have because I think that I want to be more honest with you guys this year. I don't express certain things that I'm scared of because I fear judgment, but I think we all kind of feel that way. There's a lot of uncertainty in the world, and I'm really feeling that right now, getting ready to turn 26, but I know that I'll be okay. I've gone through hard things before. I've found a way to hustle and make that money before. I'm fortunate enough to live in a state where we have pretty good options when it comes to health insurance that helps people with a lower income. It looks like I make a lot of money, but being an entrepreneur, it's not always consistent. That's just the truth of it. But I'm determined to make this a grind full year. So next year, 2025, I'm living lavish, feeling good, and then it's just up from there. 2026, but it starts here. I'm no longer in this retrograde state. The past couple of years, okay, I was feeling a little sorry for myself. I was very stuck. I didn't know what to do, but I can't keep being a victim to that anymore. 2023, that's all going to change. And it starts with finding my own health insurance. I know that sounds silly, but that's one of the things that I'm starting with, taking accountability for my life and moving forward. I've also made a huge shift in my career. I still have my real estate license, but I put it into referral mode. So I'm referring a lot of my clients out to trusted colleagues, and my clients are very well taken care of. And that also helps me because I still have some income coming in that way. It's worth it to me because I know my clients are being very well taken care of. And I'm able to focus on something that I am very, very passionate about, which is this podcast. And I'm so grateful that I had this career in real estate. I still have the career in real estate, but I'm so grateful that I was able to discover what my real passion is, and that is serving people and helping people. And that's exactly what I feel like this podcast does and is going to continue to do. Because I'm putting my story out for everyone to hear and see my raw, vulnerable, and authentic self. And it feels like I'm standing in front of you naked talking, but I'm not. I'm just showing my naked self, I guess you could say. I'm very excited to see where this takes me, and I know I was born to talk and entertain, but it's not just entertainment. It's about helping people feel not so alone. And I've said this time and time again, this podcast is someone's survival guide. My mistakes, my experiences, my guest experiences, their mistakes, their truth, were all someone's survival guide. And I'm so grateful. And to be able to support myself in this next phase of my career, podcasting, and maybe entertaining. We'll see. We'll see where this year takes me. I was also afraid to admit that I was no longer 100% passionate about the career choices that I had made. I had realized that my ego was tied into keeping it going, so it wasn't worth it for me moving forward. Now, getting over and pushing through that blockage is now allowing me to be flowing overwhelmingly with creativity. I'm going to move into another part of a blockage that I had to push through. Last year, I went through friendship breakups. I know I mentioned that I might be talking about that later on, but I don't know if it's worth my time. I think it's important to talk about friendship breakups, but airing out all the drama that goes with it to me is just so exhausting. You know, I felt so exhausted going through that friendship breakup because it was a smear campaign. I don't even think it's worth it to talk about it anymore and give it any more airtime. It's not worth my energy. Another thing that has not been worth my energy was being on the dating apps. That was a huge distraction for me. That was a blockage for me. I was finding myself swiping through when I could have been spending that time focusing on my creative stuff. I was in this weird retrograde state where I just wanted to swipe through and be on my phone and seek male validation. And doing that, I was not attracting anyone that I was really all that attracted to. I just don't think my person is in the state that I'm in. I don't think my person is. No, let me scratch that. Reverse, rewind. I know that my person is not in the state that I'm in. I know my person is not on the dating apps. I know my person is taking their time to work on themselves, just like I am working on myself to be the best version for me. And that person I'm going to meet sooner than later. I just feel it. I feel it. So, you know what I did? I deleted the dating apps. I unfollowed the guys that I was trying to seek all this attention from that were giving me crumbs. I also got rid of a lot of other social media that I felt like I was just using for attention. I like attention in other ways, you know, I like attention on this podcast, but I want it to be worth it because with this podcast, I'm able to help people, right? Snapchat does not serve me. I deleted my Snapchat. That's like the third time within 5 years that I've made a Snapchat and deleted it. Also, I know that my person will not have a Snapchat. I'm going to stereotype right now. What is Snapchat used for? Sending quick nudes because there's no trace of it after you send it unless they screenshot it or save it. I know that a lot of people cheat through that app. I've never personally, that I know of, been cheated on because of that app, but I know other people that have had their partners cheat on them through that app. So I was like, I'm not going to have that. My partner's not going to have that. I know that. And if your partner is an extension of you, don't you want to be the best version of yourself so you attract the best version of your partner? So I deleted Snapchat. I deleted other apps that I don't use, like Threads. It was just an app I never went on. I'm like, what's the point of this? I'm going to delete Be Real because no point of having it. I have Facebook, but I never post on it, and I rarely go on it because it's, to be honest, a pretty negative space. Social media can be a very negative space. I'm also limiting time that I am going on TikTok because I noticed that I was just doom scrolling, and that's not productive. That takes away from my creativity. So, yeah, that's just a couple of the things that I am doing to step into this next phase of relationships for me. Another thing that I found that was crazy is when I started no longer engaging with men. I haven't been engaging with men at all, honestly. Barely talking to them, like bits and pieces here and there, but it's mostly friendly, So many guys that I once was seeking and like wanting to get attention and validation from are now coming to me because you're so magnetic. The second that you stop seeking that validation, you're so magnetic when you're not seeking law of attraction. I'm not the expert on it. I'm going to do episodes on that eventually, but that's just bits and pieces of my practice with it and how law of attraction, gratitude affect my life, I'm attracting, I'm open to receiving, but am I engaging with guys that I used to want all this attention from? No, because they don't deserve it. They had their chance. So now I'm leaving all the past relationship trauma in the past. It's going to stay there. And that's not to say I won't talk about the stuff that I've been through, because it's my way of taking my power back and empowering others who have also been through similar experiences. But I feel like this is the first time in my life of me being single where I'm able to unpack a lot of the trauma and how maybe my childhood may have affected my relationships, how other relationships may have affected relationships, and how I'm going to be dating moving forward. And honestly, I've said this time and time again, because I wasn't unpacking this trauma that I had from my past and analyzing, like, why do I keep attracting the same person in different fonts, I've now come to realize, oh, I'm attracting emotionally unavailable partners because maybe a parent in my life was emotionally unavailable for me, and I would seek their validation, I would seek their attention, I would do things to get a rise out of them so that I could fulfill this need and desire to be protected or taken care of or wanted. And so that translated into my relationships. And I don't want that anymore. That should be given to me no matter what. I deserve safety. I deserve respect. I deserve to be desired. I deserve to be taken care of, loved, protected, all that stuff. Because that makes me feel safe. I need safety in relationships. So moving forward, I'm not accepting anything less. That's the bare minimum. I don't care how much money a guy makes. I don't care how much he showers me with gifts. At the end of the day, the best gift is safety and feeling secure in your relationship. And I've never felt that way with a man until now. I will feel that way. I feel that way about my partner. I'm speaking as if. This has probably been my most, I wouldn't say it's like a smooth episode, but I feel very fluid within this new perspective and shift in my life. And it's translating, hopefully, to you guys as well. I'm also able to trust my intuition more. I know where people stand in my life and if they're worthy of being in my life, because I don't want to keep repeating the same cycle. And if I am, then I'm not growing. And at the end of the day, I want to grow and I want to be a better person for myself, for you guys. I want to make a change. And that starts with me. That starts with me. And it's been a common theme. I've recorded a couple episodes before this with a couple of guests, and I feel so in alignment with these two women that I just recorded episodes with, Lana and Katana. Love them. Thank you guys for coming on. But we had such great, engaging conversations that I can't wait for you guys to hear, first of all. But I also am learning a lot from the people around me. And it's a very empowering feeling. And that's also another thing that I want at the end of the day. I want to feel empowered. And also, just to circle back about the seeking male validation, I've taken a lot of time to get to know myself sexually. And that starts outside of the bedroom and outside of men. I have spent all my life until now doing things for men. Starting in the bedroom because I was a people pleaser. I'm not doing that anymore. And you know what? It makes me feel sexy. And I used to think that being sexy meant the way that you looked. It meant how other people saw you. It meant you have to be sexually forward. But there's so many different ways to be sexy, and I'm embracing that. I've been noticing how magnetizing I can be when I don't spend my time wasted on guys that I'm only seeking validation from. I know where that attention seeking behavior comes from. I've dug into the very core and the very reason why I do that. I didn't feel good enough as a child. And also, I gotta say, it's not just like that in my intimate relationships, it's been like that in friendships too. I felt like a lot of the friendships I had in the past were one-sided. I don't have friends like that anymore. All my friends are friends with me for a reason, and we're all on our own path, but we're walking alongside one another. And I'm very grateful for that. I guess the overall theme of the episode today is gratitude. That's the overall vibe. Gratitude. Very grateful. It's the life hack. And I feel it too. Part of being grateful too is actually feeling it inside of you. And when I first started this personal development journey in 2022, I keep circling back to that because that's really how this all started. And when I started this podcast, I noticed that I was saying that I was grateful for things, but I wasn't really feeling it. But you can trick your brain. Gratitude for me starts in my chest, where my heart is. And that, I'm going to go and say this again. I've said it time and time again. Love is our strongest healer. It goes hand in hand with gratitude. And I feel more and more each day that my heart is literally like the Grinch. It's expanding in size, and the love is pouring out of me. Well, I feel like I'm just rambling on and on and on, and there's so much stuff that I could talk about, but I want to save them for future episodes. So each segment that I talked about today will be its own episode, but this is the overall vibe I'm bringing into 2024 is I'm focusing on myself. And yeah, I know a relationship is coming for me that's going to be healthy and strong, but I'm still developing the foundation of the love and the relationship that I have for myself so that my partner reflects the exact same to me. Because I'll be fucking damned if I end up in a loveless relationship again, or a relationship where I'm begging a man to love me, because that's what it was in past relationships. I was begging for them to love me, and I should never have to do that. You should never have to do that. Nobody should. You should never have to beg someone to love you. So, I'm going to end this episode here. Thank you guys for hearing me out. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please make sure to like, rate, review, subscribe wherever you listen to this podcast. And I will catch you guys in the next episode. Thank you for listening to the Vulnerability Hangover podcast. Okay, love you. Bye.